Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla. This is Melaya, and we are so glad that you're here with us today. Our goal is to talk about some mental health related things and hopefully start to end the stigma around them. So today we're going to talk about busy moms.
Busy moms.
Yes, busy moms. So you mentioned that today on the way here you were like, oh yes.
Today is one of those days.
Gave you some examples of what it means to be a busy mom.
Yeah, so this morning I had a client at 9. But Saturday my kid stepped on a piece of like nail or pencil lead that went in his foot.
Oh.
And I'm like, I can get this out with tweezers, and I couldn't get it out with tweezers. So I'm like, maybe I'll give it 24 hours to see if the skin will push it out. It did not. And so this morning it was like, okay, we'll just go to urgent care. They open at 7. They opened at 8.
Yep. Isn't that always the case, right?
And we walked in at 7:55, and we were 6th in line.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, that 9 o'clock is not going to happen. So I had to, make that communication and see if I could shift the morning around, and still had other things on the schedule. And I'm like, they had to numb his foot and lance and do all the fun stuff. And I'm like, are you going to school? Are you hanging with me for the day? Depends. Let's think about this. I don't think about this time. School, Mom, what are you doing?
Right.
If you take me to McDonald's, I'll go to school.
Awesome. Let's go.
Listen, and it's just not the morning I woke up expecting.
And as a mom and a grandma,
right,
there's many mornings I wake up or have woken up and it wasn't the morning or the day that I expected.
Right.
And I know that if you take a look at social media or even the news for that matter, there's this perception that everyone else has woken up to the day that they expected except for me.
It's all me.
Right.
The world hates me today, specifically.
I'm the only one who cannot wake up in the morning and get it right.
And have the day that I expected, right. And that's true. You do your best to plan. What do they say? If you want to make God laugh, make a plan.
Yeah.
Right. But you just got to kind of roll with the punches. Mom, at this age versus when that 15-year-old was 5, it would have been a complete meltdown. I would have just cried, and I would have been like, I don't want to do any of it. The world's all... And now it's like, listen, I'll make the call. I'll send the text. You shift what you can. You apologize when you need to. And then sometimes you don't even apologize because it's life. And you just say, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your flexibility. And you roll with the punches.
So other than, you said the 15-year-old when he was 5, so 10 years, other than 10 years passing, you're 10 years older. I mean, the assumption is 10 years smarter.
Hopefully.
But what made you smarter? What were some of the, how did you figure it out along the way to give yourself that grace?
Right.
Compassion.
So definitely.
Understanding.
Right. I think, training. My training had a lot to do with that because, we are trained to know, to guide our clients through,
As a therapist.
Yes, as a therapist.
Yeah.
I'm trained to guide my clients through evidence and realistic expectations and those musts that hold us so bound, and I guess applying those things to myself as I was learning them, that was definitely part of the process. And then I think I'm a mommy without a mom, so that's its own conversation for a whole nother day. But I have had women who have said, listen, you're not the first mom to have a hard day.
Right. And you're not going
to be the last. So just kind of refortifying my village, building a village of supportive other moms who are you actually don't have to do this all by yourself. I can help. I've got some time today, or I can put that on my schedule and make that work for you, But, and then being okay with asking for that help.
Right. And I think that's where the real stigma is at, because I know that we're always teasing my daughter. Inevitably, like end of April, beginning of May, there'll be some post on Facebook or Instagram that says, my bucket list for the summer, and they'll list like 10 things to do with the kids. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm not really good enough. I'm never going to get to all these things. And then we start just busting out laughing, not because she's not going to get to all those things, but like she tends to do all those things in a single weekend, let alone a whole summer.
Right.
We're like, wait a second, you run circles around these perfect moms that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yet she doesn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know she runs around constantly now with 4 little boys, but she still does a whole lot more than these Instagram or Facebook moms do. She just doesn't pretend that it's perfect, because it's not.
And that reminding myself, because I'm in the phase where I'm reminding my kids and some of my adult friends, like, social media is people's either the best moment of their day or their goals, and they've convinced other people that this is reality.
Right.
These are the stories they're telling us. Some of these people are great storytellers, but their house is a mess also. Their house, their kids are also crazy, and like, I literally mean like energy of just going constantly and all of that. And it's like, the Stepford household thing, it's not real.
Doesn't Facebook have a thing that says stories? Like where you make these little things?
Yes.
Right, so you said
the
that.
Stories.
Right, so it's the stories, and then I think Instagram's is reels,
Mm-hmm.
But, it's this idea is like, here we got this short little
make-believe.
Make-believe
all
moment.
Make-believe. And then when people do come and they're transparent, it's like, you shouldn't tell your bad business on social media. The fine line between bad business and transparency.
Right.
Right? But yeah, it can just be really hard to remind yourself that at the end of the day, you're doing the best you can. Like, if you are, then you are. And if you're not, you know how to hold yourself accountable tomorrow to being the better version of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to think that you will ever get to a place where there's not something to work on too is another kind of false notion that we fall into. Like, if I could only figure this out, then everything would be okay. The problem is that's not how that operates.
Right.
So if you can give one piece of advice for other busy moms, what might that be?
Grace. You have to give yourself grace. Just like you forgive your kids, or you forgive your friends, or you forgive your partner. You have to, forgive yourself. You have to give yourself grace. You're not the worst at this. You may not be the best, but you're also absolutely, by far, you're not the worst at this job. And, they're learning up and growing up and learning. You're growing up and learning still.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Exactly.
That's okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well-being. So until next time, continue working on being the best you possible. Bye.